You can't serve till 6:30. Or 6:30.
Good evening. Call this meeting to order for the Johnstown Management Committee meeting, July 15th, 2024 at 6:30 to 6:30 p.m. I need number 2, approval of the agenda. Moved by Mr. Ward and seconded by the mayor. All in favor? Carried. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof.
None here? No?
Minutes of the previous Port of Johnstown Committee meeting, June 17th, 2024. Any
No questions or concerns
questions?
here?
Where's? May I have a mover for the minutes?
No.
Moved by Mr. Smell, second by Mr. Mayor. This is arising from the previous
Call the
Port of,
question. Well,
sorry,
Call the question.
call the question. Carried. Number 5, minutes of the previous Port of Johnstown, or business arising from the previous Port Management Committee meeting, if any. Is there any? Okay, okay. Number 7, there's no discussion items. Number 8, action information items. How are you? And number 8, action information items, 8A green operation report. Mr. Moulton?
Yes, sir. Thank you. So the green operations report for June 2024. The overall inventory ended at 54,807 metric tons, which is certainly higher than this time last year. Wheat shipments continue to be steady. There's a lot of activity with corn. We've got a lot of corn coming into the port with some activity. We've already loaded a few vessels and certainly some more coming up. Summary of traffic for June, we received 8,477 metric tons via truck. We shipped 5,412 metric tons via truck. We shipped 8,661 metric tons via vessel and 0 on the rail. And we worked the weekends of the 23rd and the 30th for a local customer. We continue with no incidents or injuries for the year 2024. Labor report, we had 2,063 hours for the month versus 2,899 the previous year. And we carried the AAA quality through June. That was our activity for the month.
Any questions, comments, ready?
Just a quick one. It was just like, you might have said it years past and I just don't recall. When we're looking at the reportable incidents, is that all people at the port or is that just our employees at the port?
That's the employees at Fuller.
Okay, and it was just curiosity. So
Yeah. You meaning logistic?
Yeah, they would have their own.
Just that's just our guys.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, moving on to 8B, maintenance report.
I'll take that one as well, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Maintenance for June 2024. Does anybody want me to read through the list or does anybody have any questions? I can certainly go through it if you want.
No, go ahead if you
Go ahead
don't
through it.
mind.
Yeah, we
just in
conducted
case
the
something
monthly
pops up.
premise inspections as per the GMP requirements. Replace several broken windows, prepped for port day, remove existing truck probe and install the new. Install urethane liner in number 7 turn head, install urethane liner in chute number 3 to number 1 lofter. Clear all equipment from tractor garage in preparation for renovations, service the trippers, items from work order log, and weekly month dust system inspections and maintenance. That was the mechanical part of it. The electrical part was worked with the mill rates as required. A repair ground fault in feeder to MCC 11. Prep for port day, equipment checks during vessel loading. Remove electrical to existing truck probe, install new. Relocate several conduits in preparation for the new truck unloading bit conveyor. And items from the work order log. And contractors come in where Granger inspection certification of the confined space entry and working from heights PPE. And Jay's Tire came in and changed tires on one of the Bobcats. That's the maintenance report.
Any questions, comments? Go ahead.
Through the chair to
What?
Operation Manager, Mr. Moulton. I drove by last night and I thought you guys had changed that light and fixed it right at the edge of the road there on the east end. But I see it's out again, so,
Everything that on our property is working. There's one light, I think, that's on the
so it's Ontario.
Counties.
Oh, okay, well, yeah,
Sent them a message saying that they had a light out on that corner. They obviously haven't been down to.
Oh, okay.
look at it.
no problem, thank you.
You're welcome.
Go, anything, Mr. Wood?
Nope, I'm good.
I have a question. Urethane liner, what is that? I never,
It's like it's a plastic liner that you put in. It's like, when the drain comes down, it's like a duct. a
okay,
steel
so it
duct.
shoots quicker or makes
And
it,
we put the plastic liner in it so it doesn't wear out as fast.
oh,
Because
okay,
It's easier to change the plastic liner than the steel
right,
duct.
right, okay. I just never heard tell that. Any other questions, comments, people? None? Okay. Moving on to 8C, capital projects. And Mr. Saunders?
I'll take that one.
Sure.
I'm just gonna kind of look at the items, I guess, what have changed since the last month. First one will be the paving projects. We actually on, this past Friday. So the report was written before, the paving was actually done, but we paved 2 of the air tracks. Panels were replaced and 2 of them were paved. We didn't, masterpiece being delayed a little later. We needed that access to get trucks into the foundation to deliver stone to the backfilling. It needs a couple days to sit, so we left that one a little bit later on. So 2/3 of that is complete now. Again, the only other repair is still the same there. Spout repair has been, we had a contractor selected. He sent me a message last week. He's pulled out. He's been working a big job somewhere else. He can't get everything done. So we started the pouring process again. We can find someone. Channel Link spout, the PO has been, is on order. That was, last month was an action item. Covered storage, the same. Marina waterfront, same again. Parking floats. Track shed, repairs, so far the foundation is essentially complete. The floor slab will be poured on Thursday, and that'll be complete, so it'll be 7 days later, we'll be back up both pits running again. Building is in manufacturing, it's expected to start around the end of the month, which is a couple, 2 to 3 weeks early. So it'll be staged on the uplands, since the contractor's not ready. The building showing up early, his contractor scheduled 2 weeks from now, so. That'll start towards the end of August. Putting up the building. New grain dryer, all the bins are up now, the wet bins and the dry bin are up, the bin last week started to assemble the dryer. After the dryer, the high work, putting on the conveyors in place. Down, on track here for completion sometime in mid-August. I got Sauter's complete, just, placement for the parts for scale gauge is complete now. Changed from last month. New, reducer motor was installed, last month as well, so that's now complete. And then as Mike mentioned, the, probe at the, quality building has been replaced with a, probe there. The other ones are basically, status quo, waiting for time windows to get things accomplished. Any questions? No?
Questions, comments, Mr. McCauley, shoot.
Spout repair, did we have other people bid and this was the lowest bidders backed out, or did we have anybody else bid?
We had, I had 3 people bid. 2 of them have actually withdrawn. And, I've got 1, so I'm going back to get a couple more in case it requires an action.
Was their price comparable to the winning bid?
They're all higher. 70K was the winning bid. Put us under the procurement policy, we stay away from an action item. The other quotes were all above the 75K. I've got to go find a couple more vendors to quote on that. I've got 1 for you now and 1 that's coming to look at the job.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Through the chair, second one. Two questions for you. The status of the new dryer. Just overall, are we on track? Maybe you said it and I missed it, but what's the status?
Yeah,
for
we're
completion?
on track. There was something that started something in dry last week.
Yeah.
It's probably 15% complete. We're on track for the project to be complete sometime mid-August.
Fuel supply,
That'll be the exception, that for the fuel supply, probably not from mid-September, we connected.
So it'll likely be the last piece of the puzzle to come together, potentially. Okay. What about the covered storage, the 1.25 million and a quarter, says discussions ongoing, what's the? where we at now?
That's an item, under discussion, and based on the business case, it's part of the presentation we just did, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Or, that would be an advantage, so that's yet to be brought forward with more information for the business plan.
So it's still kind of in flux.
It's in flux, if you will.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Mr. Ward.
I think I was gonna ask it later on, but I might as well ask it here. For the green elevator concrete repair. It's this month, in July, it looks like we had to do another 200K payment, is that right? So we're further along than this, or is that a different, case?
Yeah.
Good, okay, so is that complete now, or is that just the final touches that we done?
No, I believe we have a little bit more work to do. They've been off for a couple of weeks. It was construction holiday.
Right.
So they haven't been around for 2 weeks, so.
We have about 15 days left of the budget, so then that probably for a week and then we'll be done.
Great.
This phase anyways.
Yeah, for sure. Good.
Kevin, I have one question, that track shed, is that, you said that's gonna be coming in next week, part of that building?
It's probably the end of the month. or
Okay,
probably a couple
so
weeks
it's a
after.
prefab that's coming in, is that right?
It's a pre-engineered building.
Oh, good, okay, just boom, 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 okay. I thought we're
Straight there, we're getting a window, because we'll be starting the wheat harvest, so we don't want to really shut those trucks down.
no.
For them to be safe, we'll have to shut down 2 of the lanes, and we're gonna wait for a window when we get it open.
Great, so, okay, good, no, thank you. Any other questions, people? Okay, let's move on to 8D, financial, second quarter investment report. Rhonda?
Our results for June, our revenue was 399,000, which is an increase of 118,000 compared to 2023. And an increase over budget by 74,000. Our expenses were kept lower than budget by 99,000, which resulted in a surplus of 23,000 for the month. Our second quarter financial update, port finished the second quarter in a negative $3,459 position. It's a marked improvement over the second quarter results from 2023, which was a negative of 259,059. The budget for the second quarter was negative 275,000, so the port is on its way to recovering from the slow start we had in the first quarter. Our year to date, with the budgeted year to date forecast of a negative 267,000 and actuals coming in at negative 175,046. The port is ahead of budget and in good shape for the upcoming wheat harvest. With a couple of grain vessels being loaded out in July, we're hopeful that we can achieve our budgeted numbers for July. I broke down the revenue and expenses there if you want me to go through them or if you have any questions on them.
Oh, no, go through them, would you please?
Okay. So our harbor services are down 218,000. Grain services are down 171,000. Rail is down 92,000. Our leases are up 16,000. Our labor benefits are up 11,000. Utilities are down 122,000. Operating and admin overall is down 100,000, which is made up of our advertising, which is down by 31,000. Our office admin is down 21,000. Materials and supplies is up 5,000. Outside services is down 72,000. Insurance is up 18,000 and honorariums up 2,000. As of June 30th, we've transferred 500,000 towards our annual $1 million payment to the township. Our receivables are still sitting at 30 days and under for the most part. The receivables are at 732,260. Payables are at 203,119, and our cash on hand is 5,317,886.
Thank you, Rhonda. Any questions, comments, people? Anything? On the table? I see that our utilities are down, that's because of, I presume, the natural gas.
That
And hydro,
that and with this year, when we weren't running as much corn and everything at the first part of the year, so our aerators and stuff weren't running. And
Right.
Floating, and compared to last year when we had all the corn boats put near the start of the year.
And the advertising of 31 grand is because Aquatorium is paid in full now?
Yeah, it was in 2023.
Right.
And the outside services, you had asked about that last time, why it was so much lower this year. Part of that is, with the rail project last year, we get billed by Cruise for all the rail work that they did, and then we rebill it it's recouped in our revenue. So without having that this year, plus we had lawyer fees from union negotiations, and that sort of thing last year, which we don't have all of that this year.
Pretty good.
Yeah, it's way down. That was one of my questions. So any other questions, people? Everybody, please, okay? How about 8E, vessel traffic report?
Excuse me, Steve, just part of the financial, you're supposed to give an update on our investments.
Oh, sorry about that, yes. Yeah, shoot, sorry.
That's okay.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's out of my normal. Yeah, we had the $2 million 12-month GIC come due June 30th, but because of the holidays, it all got done July 2nd.
Yeah.
So it, at maturity, was $2,129,097.07. So now we have, as of July 2nd, split it up 50-50 to a 12-month and a 24-month. The 12 months at 5.46 and the 24 months at 5.21. Our HESA is now at 2.777,265. And then you've got your 12 and 24 months of the RBCs, 798,082, and the 24 month is 794,376. And our operating account is at 5.2% interest. Actually, I got the statement today, it's 5.241 by the end of the month.
Questions, comments on investments, please, people?
More just, I think we talked about this last month, but I do like how every 6 months we have something coming available, just in case we need to draw on some of that cash. I know there's a lot of big expenses coming up in the next few years, and so it's good to know that we're positioned that way now.
And it also,
Good job, team.
yeah, it also gives us the laddering. You're not as exposed to any one interest rate fix. That's the other.
Good point.
Any other comments? None, okay, we're gonna move on to the vessel traffic report, 8E.
Okay, I'll cover that one, basically for, month of June, we're now at 212,297 metric tons in docks. We've had 16 vessels so far this year. And, we're looking at 3 salt vessels in July and a couple of corn boats. And, we're talking about an aggregate load before, that's gonna be delayed till August. That's the, traffic report.
That, with that grain, or with that, any questions, people?
Just, it's, yeah.
Go ahead.
How we doing for spaces with all the salt coming in? It's, I drove by the other day, we're looking pretty full.
There's lots of stuff, yeah, there's more to come. So we'll keep our east, dock open on the riverfront, just to make sure we can bring in cargoes. And we still have our lightweight dock or the harborfront dock available. Yeah, but your dock is pretty full.
Will they start hauling out of there in the next month across the road?
Some of it will go,
to get into
the
that.
vessel that's coming in for, cargo will go to North Door.
Yeah, yeah.
Ship that right away, but they have storage there as well. It doesn't usually start shipping out for a while yet.
No. Yes, go ahead.
Robert, do they still store the salt from our Johnstown in Morrisburg as well, or?
I believe so. I believe they still have an agreement with Tomlinson this year. I think it runs out this year.
They must be expecting a terrible winter coming.
We better hope for a bad winter.
Wow.
Steve, what?
Go ahead, sorry.
This relates to Port Day. I got the same question, I think, 4 times as we were touring around. And you and I talked about it a little before, but has it ever been looked at in terms of a conveyor system taking salt from the dock
Over.
over to Rito Bulk? And it's interesting, I got it 4 different times from people. You guys ever looked into it? And it's really more Logistec than us that I think would be behind that, or Rito Bulk would be behind that. Did they talk about that at all?
No, we've never really looked at it seriously, to be quite honest with you. We've not actually priced it out.
We've had that.
Because only a portion of it's gonna go across the street, because we have contracts for 300,000 on our docks.
Mhm.
So it's going to stay anyway, so you'd only be looking at the difference. Some of that goes to North Door, and then the remainder goes across the street or gets shipped out to the depots, various cities. So I think it'd be a futile exercise as far as getting your money back on that.
I suppose if the MOE ever had serious concerns about us keeping salt in the dock, that would be a solution, I assume.
Yeah, potentially, again, conveyor would not be worthwhile with maintenance and so on, you're dealing with salt. It's an interesting idea, if we had to move our salt across the street, say our lands that we just purchased, the old Prescott Machine and Welding. Then maybe something like that would make sense where it's all going across the street, 50% or whatever's going one side and Rito's right beside us, so it might make better sense down the road.
To go from Rito to Prescott Machine Mill. Like,
It would go from the port.
yeah,
If we didn't have it on our dock anymore, there's 200,000 tons that would go to the land that we
Yeah.
purchased, right, that we're developing. And the remainder would go to Rito Bulk, so you would probably go across, if you're using conveyor system today, it would go across and it would split,
Mhm.
so much this way, so much that. Just thinking about it here.
I didn't have an answer, so I've got one now for next year.
yeah. Robert, on that, we have a ship coming in, so I guess that's why with the big, getting back to actually 7 of 44 of the corn, last year's corn, obviously, is coming in. Is that a broker's trying to get a ship or two out
We got 2 different brokers trying to get some vessels out.
of last year's corn?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, any other questions, people? None? Okay, health and safety report?
Take that, Mr. Chairman. Health and safety report from, health and safety report, preventative and regulatory, prevention and regulatory solutions. Thank goodness. Review and update the noise emissions report covering the new dryer installation and clarified requirements for maintaining records covering all site equipment emissions. Circulated draft procedures for review by management covering operation and maintenance of air emission equipment and management of air emission equipment. Consulted with the safety committee on the draft procedure for working from heights and finalizing procedure in the ports document folders and health and safety manual index. Participated in an online meeting with port management and Labor Canada inspectors who had previously performed an on-site workplace inspection. Facilitated 2 joint sessions with management and the safety committee to review and update the port's workplace harassment and violence prevention program, including the policy, hazard assessment, training program, and training quiz. Following the session, the policy and hazard assessment were updated and finalized in the port documents, health safety manual index.
Questions,
Report.
Tom? Oh. Questions, comments, people? Go ahead, Mr.
So on the fourth bullet, I guess, the Labor Canada inspectors, was that just a regular inspection they come for, or was that a special requirement they had to come?
Actually, what happened, they were at master feeds. And they happened to look behind them and seen that, the big building behind them, and, the master feeds was generous enough to say, why don't you go over there and go see what's going on? We sent them a thank you card.
When's the next Lisa son of just?
Yeah. So they came, and I mean, we accepted them. I mean, they really should,
Yeah,
want you to give you an advance warning that they're coming, but, Robert was receptive to them and took them in, and they had an audit. I think they certainly didn't find anything that was troublesome, but they're gonna give some recommendation report, I guess, Robert.
Yeah, we're waiting for a report that was supposed to come in a while back, more to do with our conveyor systems, which are older systems. Previously grandfathered in, as far as being uncovered and so on. There could be some areas there, one of the areas they looked at was automatic stops, I think there. Which we do not have, so we'll be waiting for that report. They will be coming back again, they told us. They do not have to give us advance warning, but they usually do to, everyone. And they were there for a couple of hours. We just thought we were gonna stop in, so I finally went there with our maintenance manager, Jeff Wright, so I decided to go after 2.5 hours unannounced, right, to say. And we're trying to run an operation. I was nice with them, you know. So then we returned upstairs, we met in the boardroom, we had a conversation. That's basically the points that they brought up. And so then they're supposed to deliver a report for voluntary, work to be done. And we're still waiting for that.
Well, once I had an auditor tell me, I gotta find something for sure, so it's probably the case, right? So I mean, then you know what, it's good that they're having this, and then, if there's something that we need to do better, then we'll have. to figure it out, right?
Yeah, we want to say, that's for sure.
Good, no, thanks, that's it.
Any other questions, comments? I have, one on the update noise emission, with the new drivers, everything on track with that, or how's that working? With John, did he find anything?
No, he hasn't found anything. We're waiting for.
We don't even have the dryer, so how could you?
No, when we did this last, we did the CRA, it was in 2019, we put up to bid 9, the last bid. It was very, depends on the generate noise, so we put noise suppressors on some of the fans at the annex.
Right.
At that time, we asked them to add in a dryer, and we picked actually the model that's actually being installed now. So they worked that into the noise
Oh, okay,
assessment. What they're doing right now is comparing the new, if there's any new regulations and the standards tightened.
Mhm.
Make sure that we're okay against that.
very good. Any other questions, comments? Okay, moving on to GM's report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Just an update on Fort Day, very successful day. We had well over 800 people attending the event. Bonington Food Bank, they did a great job with their volunteers. They managed to cook over 600 hamburgers, 300 hot dogs, and I didn't mention there was some veggie burgers and veggie dogs. It was a waste of time to add those in, but some did get eaten. I know my wife had one anyway. So thank you to all who participated and helped with the event. Not have been accomplished without tremendous support from a lot of people. Also like to recognize a good special thank you to Stephanie McVitie, who was the main organizer of the event. And of course, our committee members here that took part, and our speakers and everyone else. It takes a lot of effort to put this together. Thank you, Stephanie. If anyone has any ideas or comments to make the event better, I would really appreciate if you could send us a little note, email, and just let us know what some of the, good or bad, and good, bad, and the ugly or whatever, and we'll incorporate them in when we have our next port day, whenever that should be. So that's port day. Continuing to work with CAO on the GM recruitment. Meeting with grain broker to discuss upcoming harvest and grain vessel loading. We had some good discussions there. Labor Canada was just mentioned. We had a team's meeting and talked about conveyors and so on. And so we're, as I said, waiting for the inspection result. And a joint session with management and safety committee to review the workplace harassment and violence prevention program. And Canada Accessibilities Act, it's a new one that came up for us. Ford is federally regulated and needs to prepare a plan in order to be compliant with the act. We originally thought that we came under the umbrella of the municipality. However, this is not the case. Not to say we can't use some of the information which the CAO was kind enough to share with me that the municipality used. Hopefully we can use some of that. We are in communication with the office of the Accessibility Commissioner. Had a great phone call with them. Everything was good. It's not something they try to jam down your throat. They give you time to work on it and so on. Gave us lots of information to look at. And they'll determine whether or not we have the staffing to be able to do this in a timely manner or use a consultant to help us navigate through this. So I'm just starting to look into that now, just reporting to the committee, and I'll give you updates on that. And that's the report, any questions?
Question, comment? On the accessibility act, is it a certain date that we have to be accessible, like 2026?
Well, the original date, we've already gone past. So
Okay,
that's what precipitated the email.
Yeah.
To myself, and that's when I inquired and took a few phone calls and a few emails, and about 3 weeks later, they did get back to me, but very nice gentleman on the phone from the commissioner's office, and he went through the whole thing with me, and don't panic, you've got time to do this. You know, we're not, you know, we just wanna make sure you understand what you need to do, and they're there to help you, so which is a good thing, you know, to navigate through it, we'll just see how timely we have to get this done, how quickly and availability on my own time and so on to get this done.
and that's well worth it, no question. So any other questions, comments? Go ahead, Frank.
Just a quick comment, Port Day was a success and certainly Stephanie deserves a lot of credit. You and your management team deserve a lot of credit too. You put a lot of time into it, and I know a lot of you're trying to run a business at the same time, so. Compliments to you and the entire management team for what you pulled off, including keeping the rain away.
It's so full.
That's unbelievable.
But yeah, the team did a great, you know, no one wants, I'm not saying it, I wanna say it positively now, but it is a Saturday, it is the summer, so I appreciate the sacrifice that the team makes to come into that day, but everyone's proud to represent the port, I'm sure, the committee is as well, and our union members that we involved more of this year. You can see they're proud to be at the port, to show off the port somewhat, right? It's a lot to be proud of, so yeah, it's a good event. Whether or not we should have it every year, I don't know.
Everybody look at it. Let's move on. Any other questions, comments on that? Okay, then we're gonna move on to 8H, lease agreement, St. Lawrence Marina. Hold on, Steve. Yes. Sorry? I was gonna wait till these two agreements are done. And do them all.
separate. The other individual.
And so I can't put in, J and K, no. Okay. I need a mover and a seconder for A, B, C, D, E, N, F, and G. Moved by Mr. Smell, second by Mr. Ward. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. 8H, lease agreement, St. Lawrence Marina. Are you taking that?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, I appreciate that. Yeah, we have an action item before the committee tonight, it's to authorize and execute a lease agreement with St. Lawrence Marina. St. Lawrence Marina, as you know, is located on Port of Johnstown lands owned by the township of Everett Cardinal, and it's leased by the company of the same name. Current lease expired this year, and it ran from 2004 to 2009 with 3 new renewable options of 5 years for a total of 20 years. All these payments are up to date, and I did check with the township, and there are no taxes and arrears for this property. There are 2 sections of land that the business owner has requested to be added to the lease. Port has no issues with adding these sections. They're pretty much already being used. So at least now we'll be getting paid for them. Other changes made to the original lease was the inclusion of an additional security deposit to protect the port in case of non-payment or repairs and reparations. We have had it in the past where there's some derelict, boats and so on that were there, and we had to go in and clean them up because it was looking quite messy and so on. Now, to the current owners, I understand that he sort of inherited that when he took over the marina, but at the same time, we wanted to put something in there that if they decide not to do some cleaning or whatever, we can go in and do that, and we can draw from this security deposit or so on. So we decided to add that into the lease this year. So I presented a sketch where you this is actually the sketch that I went through with the owner to say how much, water property, how much land are we looking at? So I did divide it into sections. The reason why, they are divided the way they are, number 4 used to be part of the restaurant. So they decided when they did their lease, if you recall, a couple of years ago, we did the lease for the restaurant. They didn't want that section anymore. And normally when you do leases, you connect all your lands, you don't leave a little spot, which is difficult to lease on its own, so, we included it in that, and, I have reviewed this, and he accepted the land, you can see the difference in the land square footage on the right. And the water is in blue there, you can see the difference between that and the current lease. Or the lease that just expired, excuse me. So we did get the lease vetted by the court's lawyer, reviewed with the current owner last week. Lease agreements must be approved by council. And the term of the lease is for 5 years and includes an additional 2 5-year renewable options. So the recommendation put forward to the committee is that the Port of Johnstown Management Committee recommends that the council of the township of Edwardsburg Colonel approve a new lease agreement with St. Lawrence Marina for a term of 5 years with 2 5-year renewable options. That the general manager, mayor, and township CAO sign the agreement on behalf of the Port Township. If there's any questions, I'll entertain these now.
Questions, comments? Go ahead.
I have a question with regards to the addition of, item 4 and 5.
Yes,
I can understand 5. You said 4 was kind of no man's land before, where it was not included under the restaurant lease?
it was in the restaurant lease originally.
It
They
was.
opted out.
Okay, fair enough. My only question or concern with the access right now looks like it's completely governed and under the lease agreement of the marina, under what I see here. Are there any potential conflicts with the restaurant?
They're
Or,
the ones that asked not to have that land, so there'd be no conflicts because they requested it.
fair enough.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about boat traffic accessing to the restaurant, parking boats there and then coming on to the restaurant land.
That's something I leave up to the owners to, there's a right of way there, for the road. And as far as that, boats, recreational boats coming in to stop for lunch or whatever, I leave that up to Matt to keep an eye on and so on. He
Right.
works with Sean Lucy, who's the proprietor of the restaurant. And they work together to make sure, whether he gets paid for those vessels that come in or whatever.
Yeah.
Since we've redone the frontage, the shoreline, it's no longer a wall because it was falling apart. Now got riprap. So there's no vessel that can go there anyways.
Okay.
There used to be some concern when this big houseboat used to park right in front of the restaurant, and the restaurant really didn't like it. Well, they can't do that anymore.
Fair enough.
And as I understand, that houseboat is for sale now because the owners are moving away, so we don't have that issue with the houseboat anymore.
To the next guy, please.
Robert, you mentioned right of way. Is there a right of way from, I know the brown right of way that's outlined in one of the diagrams?
Yeah.
Sort of a road coming around.
Yeah.
But is there a right of way down to the waterfront or the water access? Other than, it looks like it's solid green all along the front.
Yes, because Marina, that's their lease property, they govern that, so
Fair enough.
anyone going down there, it's on their lease land, their property,
Okay.
and they govern, they look after that.
Thank you.
Because there's not a beach there, or anything, it's not like there's a right of way to go in the water, and if they're gonna use the boat ramp or anything, they need to go through the marina.
Understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, comments?
Well, I had 2 questions, but
Sure.
you answered one about, so there is a rent increase for the extra property. So that's fair. Did you say the lease expired or is expiring soon?
It has expired, so we're on a month-to-month rate.
Oh, okay. Yes, this one, we're back to
Yeah,
that.
and that's what happens in the agreement, whenever there's an expiry date that. You don't get your new lease at a time, it goes to month-to-month. Okay. Lease it out.
So I had
I have a couple that, it's a 15-year lease now, not a 20?
Yeah, you know what, I thought 20 was a bit too much, it's just my opinion, I thought 3 5s is,
Yeah.
you can look at it every 5, you can't, renewals legally, you cannot unreasonably withhold them renewing. But if there are issues, I thought it best to divide it into 5, and I thought 15, that was just my opinion, I thought 15 was long enough, and Matt was okay with the 15 years.
Good. That number 5, I mean, you're right. He's had it for how many years?
A
Right?
lot of, yeah.
For freebies, so.
Yep.
But cheapers, I'm glad we have something in there cleaned up. He's got a couple boats in there that, I think they're Gilligan Islands boats. I mean, that's all they are. Those 2 ones, they're all rotted. It's just an eyesore. I mean, did you talk to Matt?
I can certainly, talk to him about that.
Yeah, because it is, if you look at it. I mean, the rest is.
Yeah.
But they've been there since, like I said,
I
Gilligan.
don't know if you're aware that there was you got another theft at the marina.
No,
might as well bring it up, I mean, basically a house built, a demo house built by, the entrance going in, but on the other, before the ditch, but not in his sort of property on the other side, private county road two, I'm trying to explain. And, somebody came in at 5 a.m, he's got it on his camera, but it's not clear enough, and they hooked up to the trailer, and yanked his houseboat out, but they didn't have the tongue on the trailer, and so the boat flipped up on Highway two. And the guy just pulled out with the trailer on chains, left the boat there on Highway two and stopped in front of McEwen's and on the trailer, and off he went. And so basically, he got a phone call at 5 a.m. that his house, his pontoon, or brand new pontoon boat with 150 horsepower motor on it, was on the middle of Highway two. So anyways, he was able to repair it and, you know, scratch and dent sort of deal, but at the end of the day, looking at the whole area, potentially we might want to close that gate that the truckers used to go through the port when they used to stop for breakfast, because they don't do that anymore. So that right of way road that you see, potentially we might want to stop, we might want to start shutting the gate that goes through to the port, just to stop that traffic happening. So we did talk about that. So I just wanted to put it in context.
Yeah.
If we got gate closed, that's why.
It's too bad, because a lot of people use that for their car, do a little drive with an ice cream up through there, you know, I know, to go up,
Yeah.
you know, but I can understand that, but I'm glad we have something in there. I mean, yeah, he might as well have number 5 because he's had it for
Yes.
10 years, so
Yeah.
we might as well give it to him on record. Okay. I got a recommendation. Any other questions, please, people? Recommendation that the Port of Johnstown Management Committee recommends that the Council of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal approves their new lease agreement with St. Lawrence Marine Limited for 5-year term with 2 5-year renewable options. And that the Port General Manager, Township CEO signed an agreement on behalf of the Port Township. We need a mover. Moved by Mr. Ward, seconded by Mr. Mayor. All in favor? Carried. That's good to get out of the way. Second one, same one, you gonna talk about,
Yes, thank you.
Robert? Thank you, go ahead.
Deputy Mayor.
License agreement, your computer.
We have an action item before you tonight on the license agreement. That is for Joe Computer to have their antenna equipment on the roof for the Johnstown elevator. Just a little background, as you know, he's a local driver. He's in the township here. He uses Fort Green elevator roof, but on. They have used the roof, the elevator for the past 20 years. There's been no issue regarding payment or interference with port operations. Previous agreement has ended and a new license agreement is required. The new agreement is similar to the past agreement, has been vetted by the port's lawyer. This has to be approved by council, and the license agreement is for 5 years with an additional 5-year renewable option. And so the recommendation before the committee is as follows. The Port Johnstown Management Committee recommends that the council of Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal approves a license agreement with Joe Computer for a 5-year term with 1 5-year renewable option. And that the Port General Manager, Mayor, and Township CEO enter into the agreement on behalf of the port /
Pretty straightforward, but is there any questions, comments? Again, it was 20 years before and you cut it down to 10, is that right?
I think he's been with us for 20, I can't say for sure if it was 20 years. I know that he's been with us for 20.
Okay.
He was a 5-year renewal.
2 5s and he's happy, you're happy.
Yeah, he's happy with that.
Any questions, comments on that, people? Pretty straightforward. I need a mover. Moved by Mr. Ward and seconded by Mr. Smell. That the Port of Johnstown Management Committee recommends the Council of the Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal approves the license agreement with Joe Computer for a 5-year term with a 1 5-year renewable option. And that number 2, the Port General Manager and the Township, the CEO, entered an agreement on behalf of the Port of Township. All in favor? Carry. J. Receiving an area upgrade with Seaver Hopper. In the conveyor portion, project 300-508. Is that you, Mr. Saunders?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, the action this evening is for they're receiving copper and conveyor. This is a part of the receiving area upgrades. This is the reason we pieced it out this time is just a recap is that we tried to send this out as one complete project last November, but we really did. So we broke it down into pieces to try and get some interest generated, move forward. So this is to have the foundation taken care of, and the building has been taken care of. This is probably the last major item for this. It is part of the new, receiving pit, the new lane, where also the container spout will go. The container spout is also, part of this project in that building. So this is just gonna allow us to maintain and actually improve service to our customers with the added receiving pit. Do the activity the annex you're picking out. So project is to, install the hopper and, connect the conveyor to the bottom of this hopper with a certain bypass where they made up together to control the flow. Flows into one of our existing lockers, which allows it to go up into the scale and be weighed. Everything that comes in out of the port must be weighed. So this connects using existing infrastructure, with a bit to get that weighing operation complete. We want to order it as a single package, but there has to be some coordination. The reason being the receiver hopper is fairly easy to fabricate and put together. I don't want them coming and putting that in, then you can't get the conveyor. So we have an open pit, we've got to slide the conveyor down inside the building, get it installed and drop the hopper on top. So Paul's implication was, the total project was approved in the 2024 budget, $2.3 million. The allocation for this portion is about $375,000. We sent this out to 5 different companies, and we've got 2 complete bids, 1 incomplete bid, and 2 no bids. And one of the fellows that no bid actually pulled out of the chutes over the receiving area. He's tied to a big project. Inconvenient for the port, but I appreciate the heads up. So at least we can some planning now that we know that it's not real. My Horse Systems bid $212,000, Advanced Gray Handling and Vista bid $239,642. So relatively close in bids. So the recommendation is the Port Management Committee award the receiving hopper and conveyor portion of the project 300-580 to Horse Systems. $212,011, excluding the HSD, with a 10% contingency. The Port Management Committee authorized the Port General Manager to sign the purchase order with Horse Systems on behalf of the township. Questions or concerns?
Go ahead, Mr. McCauley.
Horst is doing a lot of work for us now. I assume that we continue to be happy with him and satisfied with the work before we grant them this one.
Very happy. They take care of the details well for us. There's no, the quotes in the past, there's no surprises.
Okay.
We don't get hit with a lot of extras. They factor everything in that they need to get.
Good, thank you.
Do you have your hand up? No. Okay. I find them really, like, I think you told me that they had to pick up and go to another job and come back with the crew and everything's so well organized and straightforward.
They have different crews for different portions of the work.
Yeah.
They keep rotating them around to keep all the.
Yeah, it's great they have that. So.
Yeah.
And the price seems right as well. So they play
The
with
pricing as well.
Okay, people, any other questions, comments? So we do have a recommendation, that the Port Management Committee award the receiver hopper and conveyor portion of the project 300-580 to Rural Horse Systems in the amount of $212,011 excluding HST, plus a 10% contingency. Port Management Committee authorized Port General Manager to sign the purchase order with Rural Horse Systems on behalf of the township. Moved by the mayor, second by Mr. Snell. All in favor? Okay. Now we're on to K, new grain dryer project, propane connection. And Mr. Saunders again.
Yes, thank you. Action item this evening is to get the propane connected from the tanks to the dryer in order to be able to operate the dryer. As everyone knows, we're installing a new grain dryer and it's just a board drying grain at the annex. including wet bins and other dry bin, was improved. The grain dryer is fueled using liquid propane. Due to the additional cost of, natural gas. Propane installation requires additional components, and piping in order to convert the liquid propane to gas, supposed to be utilized, so you can burn the dryer, the fuel. This portion involves, connecting the 5 2,000 US gallon tanks to the base of the dryer. Installation includes the vaporizers, piping, liquid pump, filters, pressure relief valves, and emergency shut-off. The whole project was approved in the 2024 budget, the amount of $4.283 million. The allocation, the expected allocation for this part of the project was $250. However, the price is coming in a little bit higher than that down below, which was a little puzzling to me. I had a written quote for the propane install from another supplier, and which was about $205, and no one can get close to that. They told me the components were $190K. So there was a glitch in the matrix somewhere. And we didn't go back to that contractor because he tied in with the supply of the natural gas, and he wasn't the best price of gas. We then got 3 companies come in with the site, give us their bids on it. One of the things Earl Horse had come in at 3.3, we had anticipated doing this under a change order, but because it was so much higher, we wanted to go to bid and see if we could get improvement on the price on that. That's the result of the other 2 customers, and the lowest bid of the 3 was actually W.O. Stinson, which is actually the supplier of the propane as well. That, again, we're probably about $57,000 over what I expected, but that's where it is. So the recommendation is the Port Management Committee recommends that council award the propane connection work as part of the new grain dryer. To W.O. Stinson, amount of $302,000 to HST with the 10% contingency. And the Port Management Committee recommends that council authorizes the Port General Manager to sign the PO.
Questions, comments, people?
I'll just make a quick comment. It just. The fueling of these dryers pains me, whether it was the process that we had with Enbridge to try to secure that, and that continues to be a discussion, but it's just a disaster. And I mean, to have a quote that was 200,000, here we are at 1/3 more, and we have no choice because we've already moved ahead with the entire project. I mean, it's 100,000 on a $6 million end project, but still, it's just, we switched to that because, it was going to make sense, and it continues to escalate. Just, it irks me, but.
And that's a bad taste in that as well.
Yeah.
Which is why we went back and tried to see if we can get that cost down. That's a way we can get it. But I agree with you. Most of them. I'll probably put the exact in and get it.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments, people?
Yeah, so on that, I know we talked about the 10% contingency a lot, so the entire grade dryer project has, we put 10% contingency on all of that as well, is that not true? So in some ways, it kind of gets absorbed in that, but it still hurts, but thank gosh, you saved 160,000 on the previous action. It literally hurts all. Yeah, that was.
I have a couple questions. One, who owns the tanks and the equipment that we're giving these guys, W.O. Stinson 302,000? Is it our equipment and our tanks?
No, the tanks will be owned by Stinson.
And it's our equipment that they're hooking up to those tanks? Is
Right.
that ours?
Yeah, everything from the tanks are connected, they have one Stinson, all right, the vaporizers, from the vaporizer, all that piping from the tanks, the vaporizer to the dryer are all on the report.
And so they have 2,000 tanks, Stinson. Now, do we have a guaranteed lockdown price on this for how many years?
1 year.
That's just 2024 and 2025?
Yeah, to, I think it's April, end of April 2025, so we have the price for it.
Right, so we don't have a long long-term lease with them. So, question 2. Next year, 3 years down the road, we're still on propane, Lebec wants to come in. We don't have to pay the 302,000, because we're just disconnecting and hooking up. Right? So we just need a gas fitter one, I would think, to do that.
And actually, the interconnection of the tanks, the 5 tanks, belongs to Stimson as well. So if you want to change suppliers, they would come in and bring their tanks in, they would do the interconnection, which took the existing pipe.
That's right, but then if Lebec comes in, they take their tanks in, we put Levec's in, and that's it, that's all. So we only have a 1-year deal, we can't get any longer.
We didn't ask, of the 3 bids, that was the most complicated. They had minimums, and they had a maximum. But once you hit your maximum, you went to, market price.
Market price.
Market price. They
Oh,
would guarantee a certain price. Stetson had the simplest, they said, we don't care how much you use. No minimum, no maximum, this is your price, for the end of April, 2025.
and they guarantee that we get propane.
Guaranteed. And we had another supplier bid, again, he had levels. Usage, I guess, your price would be down a little bit, as you went up. If you get to, a rate that was going to be less than Stetson, we would have to use an amount probably we won't get to. We'll run out of storage before we consume that much. So
I worry about those, and
it took a little while to analyze all the bids because there were lots of hooks and
Well-
crooks. Stetson was straightforward, it was,
yeah,
here it is.
okay, the 1-year deal, I can accept, and maybe, I don't know, maybe, something will fall out of the sky and Enbridge get their, their, can't say no, can't. Yeah, get organized and get going, so, okay, yeah, that's good. And then they'll come and take the tanks away and the rest is history. Okay. We do have a recommendation, people, Port Management Committee recommends council awards propane connection work as part of new grain dryer at the annex, project 300-69 to W.O. Stenton in the amount of 302,000. Excluding HST plus a 10% contingency. That the Port Management Committee recommends the council authorize the Port General Manager to sign the purchase order with W.O. Stenton on behalf of the township. Need a mover and I need a seconder. Moved by Mr. Ward, seconded by Mr. Smell. All in favor? Carried. We are on number 9, approval of the disbursements port account. Anybody have any questions, comments on the disbursements? You've had a weekend to look at? Anything?
Just a lot of capital money going out. Good to see we're progressing a lot of these projects, and it was an expensive month, obviously, but it's like I said, it's all for the new progress, and so it's good to see that we're on track. Looks like for this year, for capital this year. So
That's it.
that's it. Yeah. Well, I had the other question, like I said, about the.
And what's that?
200K. Well, the 200K with regards to the bin wall and the wall repairs, but we talked about that earlier on. So.
Anything else? People? I need a mover to approve the disbursement support account. Moved by Mr. Mayor, second by Mr. Smell. All in favor? Carried. Number 10, council inquiries, notes of motions, anything?
Well, I'm assuming I'm assuming the chair is gonna have lots of comments about Port Day, so, but I will say thanks, you guys did a great job. I haven't seen Councilor Martel happier than riding on the back of that wagon all day long, singing with the kids, and anyways, no, it was a good day, and you guys did a great job, but I'm sure there'll be more in the chairs, for it, so.
Yeah, probably gonna worry. Robert, are we gonna still finish painting the whole elevator?
Mike, do you want to answer that one?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Are we gonna finish painting the whole elevator or?
Well, we're gonna wait and see first, how that adhesion works, to make sure that we're happy with it before we go forward. To do those 11, you know, it costs $100,000, we want to make sure that that's
What's-
what we want.
What's the timetable? We're gonna give it, because it's been what, 1 year or 2 years?
Well, I'd like to see how it does through this season again, and then maybe if we're happy with it next spring.
So Robert, have you ever heard of, can't think of the name of the port? They painted a mural on it and advertised all of the township and the town and everything. I mean, I know that cost a fortune unless we got somebody to volunteer to do it, but. Have you ever heard?
I've heard of that before. I've heard of, different, depending on the structures, whether it's concrete or whatever, so on. I have heard of that.
Okay, I got heard of the weekend and naturally I forgot where it was, so, you know. Just thought I'd bring it up.
Is that it?
That's it for me.
I don't have any prior, Steve, but I wanted to echo, I know what you're going to say about port days and.
Yeah.
What, Councilor War said, but certainly want to, recognize all the volunteers. The folks from the food bank, obviously the staff, any of the staff involved, our rec staff, your staff was fantastic, especially. Trying to bribe them to get up to the roof for a quick trip up. And they were in that elevator constantly, and it was so well received. Heard about it nonstop. The next couple of weeks at work as people continue to come in that had been there, and they had nothing but great things to say. So, well done. And I think the other one is, and I know Steve will hate me for this, but it is Steve's birthday today, so let's all wish the deputy mayor. Happy birthday.
Okay, any other councils in cards? No? Moving on, chair's report, I do, and it's a thank you, there's no question. To the committee, members of our council, the staff, it was a wonderful day. Special thanks to Stephanie, who I know lost lots of sleep, and worried about the weather, worried about the tents, and came out just wonderful. It's a wonderful day. The people had so much positive feedback about how the port operates, how clean it was, how organized you people did, from Frank and Joe and to you, Robert, and your staff. I just can't say enough that for you people, a job well done. And don't think, I'm just gonna leave it at that, and we'll maybe 2 or 3 years down the road, we'll have another. And saying that, I had a little story. I had this lady after we were up there. She came up to me and she says, Steve, she says, and I've known her for years, and she says, I know Highway 401 and I know Highway number 2. But where is this H2O highway? So we went for a little walk up on the, and that's right there, Barb. So it's quite interesting, something like that. And that's, like I said, I just can't say enough about it. And we're short on time for our, we're only having, I think, one meeting next week. And we have a big function coming up here in Spencerville, so I just want you to be aware of the Bluegrass Festival. So
hey everybody, this is Carson Peters along with the better looking half of Iron Mountain. But all of Iron Mountain and me will be at the South Greenville Bluegrass Festival August 8th through 11th this year, and we're super excited to come back. We've been there multiple years in the past and can't wait to come back this year. I got to meet Deputy Mayor Mr. Dillabaugh last year, and we cannot wait to come back.
and that's my report. Question period. Any question?
I just add the port day was fabulous, and I would recommend that you do it yearly.
Every year.
I know that you not want to, but it's a wonderful event to add to the highway, to the area, to tourism, and I think everybody I spoke to loved it.
Yeah, yeah, thank you.
That was great.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Okay, We are going to number 13, we'll call this meeting adjourned at, give me a time, people.
7:34.
7.
Hold on, the girls are.
Sorry,
I moved it.
That's like that.
in German. Moved at 7:34.
Call the question. Call the question.
All in favor?
There you go. Yeah, hard not to do this. He's galvanizing.
Steve, I'd be more impressed if Shania Twain was on that thing. She remembered me.
Well, this young lad was on, I don't know what to call